Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data, and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Woo woo. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I have one of your favorite guests. You know her from her hit podcast, Reality Life with Kate Casey, my friend for many years, Kate Casey.
Oh, we're back together. I know.
Mother of 5, married, dance mom, soccer mom, lacrosse mom, whatever. Also here to talk some Juicy Scoop. So I love it.
Well, first I want to say I missed your party because I was at a lacrosse tournament in Salt Lake City.
A lot of people thought we were no longer friends.
What?
No, just kidding.
I want to just say 10 years. It like frickin' flew by, man.
Aw,
Didn't it fly by?
No.
It was a hot minute ago. We were in like the Wondery studio on Sunset.
No, it does. It's like you think about like your life where it's like it really is in chapters. So it's like there's, life. There's the main chapter is life before getting married at 29 to then there's the chapter, between marriage and working at Chelsea Lately. Then there's the Chelsea Lately chapter. Now this chapter is longer than that chapter.
Yeah.
Oh, because it's 10 years and that was only 7.5 years. And so it's like,
wow,
and then eventually I will get to a place where I've been married longer than I wasn't, which will be very weird when that happens. But right now, it's been great. You did miss a fun one. You would have enjoyed many of the guests because it's all people we love and are fun. That we were regular people, there were guests, and then there was like, my favorite podcaster people that have come on my show like you. And so, but yeah, it was really fun. I'm really glad I did it. Those type of things do kind of like stress me out, but I'm always happy once the party happened and I still have to go through all the photos and post some, but it's all good.
Well, it's been a big year. You had a lot to celebrate.
A lot going on. How was your 4th of July?
I don't even remember. I don't even remember what I did yesterday because I have so many kids. I don't know. We were in town and running around and, I have that kind of house that they're just people in and out all the time. So the days kind of blend together.
Well, I think that's kind of great. Well, I was out where I live in Westlake. We went on a boat on the lake, and it wasn't really even that crowded. I guess it gets crazier later. It was really fun. Here are my friends looking cute. But then I went on the TikTok at night, and there was some interesting TikTok stuff I found.
Okay.
The first one, I think that this girl actually reposted this guy. Her name is Carmel Ladder. Anyway, she posted it saying, let's find April. So this guy goes, if your name is April and your friends were on the train from Penn Station to Montauk this Tuesday, going out for the 4th of July, they hate you. So the video is of this very animated young guy who's like, I was just listening to this conversation, and for the entire ride out there, they're using you for your Montauk house. They actually hate you, and then this girl reposted was like, we need to find April. And then the comments were like, maybe April is the problem. And it's like, it's so amazing because we've seen the ones where it's like, if your boyfriend is, or your husband is on a flight from Houston to Denver, he is flirting,
He's cheating on you.
I was watching him flirt with this girl the whole time until you called, and I saw him turn it off and then heard him say, hey, I landed. Can't wait to see you, baby. Like, all that kind of stuff is just like crazy. And
is it possible that he made this up? Because if he did, it's kind of brilliant.
I do think there's a lot of viral TikToks that when I think this is too like, where someone acts like they're filming a cooking thing and then some crazy thing happens. Yeah. And it has like 3 million views. Then people will go fake button and I know this couple, they do this stuff. It's acted and whatever. It could be, but also we've done that. And sometimes you just think like, whatever, like who the Uber driver's not going to say anything or whatever. And you're just like talking shit. But if this is true, and if this is April. I feel so badly for her.
It must be easy to find her. How many people are named April that have a house in Montauk?
Right. That has like young friends
Right.
that are like staying there because they don't like you, but they're going.
Yeah.
And it's like some things like I think, God, are we ever going to get to a place where you can read people's thoughts or AI or something? Because I'm like, I don't want to know what everyone's thinking about me every moment. I don't want to know.
No. Ignorance is bliss.
I
Yeah.
mean, podcasting is bad enough that people will be like, hey, your friend was talking about you on the podcast, and then I can go and listen and hear what they said.
And they'll tell you,
or
it
enemy.
was at the 14-minute mark too. They like to give you specifics.
I'm already hearing like, oh my God, I heard, back in our day, we used to, real evil bitches would do a 3-way call.
Yes.
And have, and bait the friend to talk behind your back, and then you'd hear it. And it was so devastating. And the thing is, women especially do talk shit behind each other's back. And it's more of a vent. And it doesn't mean that they want to end the friendship or that they don't love you or that they wouldn't be there in a heartbeat.
You just want to get it off their chest.
The point is, you're not meant to ever hear it. Yeah. And the same thing goes, and we see it now in reality shows because it's like, we got to make some shit happen. So I'm going to go to you, Kate, we're all to show together, and tell you what just happened on the lunch where they said they thought, it was really rude that you didn't have a sandwich ready for their son on the play date. And now we're going to talk about this for the next. So they have to do it on that to start shit. But in real life, you wouldn't bring that up to your friend because it would be hurtful. Like, why would you? And so this is just, and then to have it like kind of go a viral thing and someone know that it's April, and probably if we find April, people are going to be like, girl, I'll be your friend. I'll never talk shit.
This is what I think.
Yeah.
A genius way to get a show greenlit. If you're that guy, maybe you made the deck about an ensemble show in Montauk, and this is what was your way for it to get some interest from a network.
Way to make the lemonade into a reality show. I
would make it into a reality show.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's like a summer house thing, but it is true. I mean, they're from people of all ages sometimes are friends with people or stay longer friends with people because there's some other thing that they bring to the table besides their lack of a personality or their great personality. Like, you're like, if they have a great personality, it doesn't matter if they lose their home or whatever. If you're not totally connected, you're like, let me just make sure that person's still on the Christmas card get list or whatever. Some people do that. I don't, but like, I can see why people do. And especially if you're
it's
a young,
actually the bane of my
girl.
Existence. I hate it when I'm somewhere and it's so clear that somebody has zero personality and the reason that they're around is because someone wants access to something that they have.
Their yacht
I
or
have
whatever.
no tolerance for it. I'm like, I'm not going to participate in this nonsense. Like kissing someone's ass because they feel like they can get something out of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're not bringing anything to the table.
Right.
Like,
you guys are not a jive or whatever.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's anyway, so that was crazy. Then there was this other thing that went viral where this woman is bawling in her car. And
I hate these.
And she said her son's friend's mother invited her to a barbecue on 4th of July and was like, "Oh, I'm going to something, come." So I think she brought her son, and the woman had her son too. And she made a beautiful how do you say, antipasta?
Antipasta.
It is antipasta. I'm saying it right. Anti-aging. Okay. Antipasta salad. I've never made one.
Or antipasta.
Antipasta. I think it's antipasta. Anyway, in a thing that could stay there like a tin. And it looked very nice. She's like, I spent $40 on this thing. I got the good meats.
Right.
Everything. So she goes, and these people are Southern because she goes to it and she's crying and she's like, I got there and they were like, who are you?
What?
What are you doing here?
What?
And then the girl was like, I thought like, and she like was so taken aback, and it wasn't a huge party, but there still was a gathering of like at least 12 people. And she's like, the girl invited me. I didn't know, and then this other person's like, who are you? You didn't even introduce yourself. We don't know who you are. This isn't a party. It's a gathering of people that all know each other. What are you doing here? She left the salad. She's hysterically crying. Her 10-year-old boy's trying to comfort her. And I was like, oh my God. So now that's gone viral. And so the woman, that people found out who the assholes were.
Good. This is another reality show I want to watch.
And then that girl's like, hi, okay, it's me. Let me just tell you what happened.
This is a reality show.
This was a party that we had. It wasn't actually a party. It was gathering people that we knew.
Wait, who says this is a gathering of people we know? Who says that?
Yeah, she's like, we did not know who she was. She was not saying who she was. I'm sorry, but like, it was just awkward. It was really, really awkward. And, we do not deserve this kind of, online bullying or whatever. Like, I don't know what you were thinking. Like, anyway, she made it worse. That girl made it worse.
Yeah,
so it's still
wow.
going. Good news is now this girl is able to make money off her TikToks. That's the final end of the story. But like, it was.
I swear to you, this is the new way people get shows greenlit.
I do think 4th of July parties can be weird because some of them, you get invited to one or your husband goes, we're going to our friend's house. And I'm like, what time is the party? I don't know. Okay.
Husbands are the worst.
Is it 12 to 4? Is it for the fireworks? Nobody wants to serve multiple meals for the day. So when is this party? Is it a bigger deal? Like you can pop in and out. No one will know. Are we going to walk in and it's going to be a small gathering of people who know each other? Like, is it going to be kind of like, oh, fuck, now we're stuck here. Now this isn't that fun and we're stuck. Like people need to know. I do agree, you kind of need to know, but obviously an afternoon barbecue, I would think you could bring a fellow mom, and it wouldn't be. The woman that brought her was very sweet and apologetic, but I was like, this is awkward and fucking weird.
I do like it's like a conversation starter because anywhere you go and you bring up this topic, people could riff on it for like an hour.
It is a weird thing when you're like, oh, hey.
Hi. Yeah.
How you doing? Like that video, like a little person that shows up.
Yeah.
Well, that's how everyone's just like, why are you here? Yeah, it was very much that. Maybe you're a hot sleeper. Maybe your partner's a hot sleeper. Maybe you're both hot, but you'd like to be cooler when it's time to go to sleep. That's why I like Boll & Branch Percale sheets. They are 100% made from organic cotton. They are ethically crafted by expert artisans that earn a fair wage. They come with a 30-night worry-free guarantee. They are made ultra crisp with a special cooling weave, so you will never sleep hot again. They have made a huge difference for myself. I am sleeping better than ever. Summer nights are feeling like cool winter, spring nights. They are the best. I love feeling them on my skin, and it's just so refreshing and lovely to sleep in their sheets. Get the best savings of the season during Boll & Branch's annual summer event. Get 20% off plus free shipping on your first set of sheets at bollandbranch.com/juicyscoop. That's Boll & Branch, BOLLANDBRANCH.com/juicyscoop to save 20% and unlock free shipping, limited time only, exclusions apply. Summer is so fun. You've got weddings, you've got vacations, you're going in and out of the pool, the sun is getting on your hair. And guess what? That can add to the shedding and your hair not being as lush and beautiful as it should be. And that is where Nutrafol comes in, because Nutrafol's whole body approach and clinically tested formulas support your hair from within, so you can focus on living your best life all summer long. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. Anything truly worthwhile takes time and effort. And with Nutrafol, see thicker, stronger, faster growing hair and less shedding in just 3 to 6 months. While many supplements rely slowly on ingredient studies, Nutrafol clinically tests final formulations to ensure their efficiency. In a clinical study, 90% of women saw overall improvement in their hair after taking Nutrafol Women Hair Growth Supplement for 6 months. This summer, stop worrying about your hair and start making memories. For a limited time only, Nutrafol is offering our Juicy Scoopers $10 off your first month's subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code JuicyScoop. Find out why Nutrafol is the best-selling hair growth supplement brand at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code JuicyScoop. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code JuicyScoop. Here's the thing. The skin on your neck is thinner, and a lot of us have not taken care of it. and want to, and you want to use the right product, you guys, this is Go Pure. I've been using it every night for a couple months now. You will notice a huge difference. You really will. It is so great. Go Pure products are cruelty-free, they're paraben-free, they're sulfate-free. So you know you are giving your skin clean, effective care without the harsh chemicals or compromises. Go Pure isn't just about transforming the skin on your neck. They have a full line of science-backed skin and body care that tighten, lift, smooth skin from head to toe. So it's not just for the neck. It's such a great product. With over 100 million jars sold, the beauty secret is no longer a secret. For a limited time, our Juicy Scoopers get 25% off Go Pure with code JuicyScoop at checkout. Just head to gopurebeauty.com, use code JuicyScoop, and you're all set. And after you buy, do us a favor. When they ask you where you heard about Go Pure, tell them it was from our show, Juicy Scoop. I know you're not totally up on and just like that. And I know people are like, Heather, stop telling me about this show. It fucking sucks. We are done. Stop it. I'm not going to do a full recap, but something extremely juicy happened in the last episode that you, as a connoisseur of television and production, needs to know what the fuck happened. Okay. It's criminal. Okay.
By the way, do you remember the time that you sent me a video and you were like, oh my God, I just want to say I'm just really emotional because you were just been on a plane. You were like, I realized that I have Sex in the City friends. And you were like, you're my Miranda. Do you remember that?
I think I was drunk.
That's who I'm like?
You are a little bit Miranda in her best time of Sex and the City because she was funny and cynical. Now she's like goofy and dumb.
Don't like it.
And to speak about Miranda, this will piss you off too.
Okay. Yeah.
So in this next thing, she, falls in love with Che Diaz. They break up. She's now just living a lesbian life. She's got this boring BBC girlfriend. She introduces her son to him. That's all fine. However, once she left once she left him, she had to live with this other character that they just aren't talking about anymore, who was a professor. Okay. So she was literally couch surfing, as you'd say. She was like living on the girl's couch. Then she is at an Airbnb that has like weird people in the building across the way. Then she goes to Carrie, who never thought to offer her one of her 4 bedrooms because Carrie is with Aiden, back with Aiden. Mm-hmm. Aiden, after Big died, she wouldn't, Aiden never wanted to go back into her old apartment because she'd kept her old apartment because that's where she had cheated on Aiden.
He's still thinking about that?
No, but this is going to get to the juicy part.
Okay.
So she buys this, she's got money from Big's death. She buys this beautiful 4-bedroom townhome that's probably like $20 million and thinking that they're going to get together and he and his 3 sons will have rooms. While Miranda, she's talking to her on the phone every day, having lunch with, saying her horrible time at the Airbnb with this guy who came out with a meat cleaver and was naked and screaming at her.
Oh my God.
She goes, I forgot I have these extra rooms. Would you like to stay in one? Well, then she comes and she eats her yogurt and her last Mexican Coke. So she goes, you know what? I do think I need to find a place. Can Seema, the realtor, help me? All of a sudden, Seema finds her a great house. And she goes, so here's the deal, Miranda. If you want this apartment, it's a whisper listing. And I know for a fact that you can get it, but they want $150,000 over asking. So I'm like, wait a minute.
Real estate.
She's going to pay $150,000 over asking. We're talking this is at least close to $2 million. Mm-hmm. So she had $2 million to buy a house as a single woman for the last 2 years.
I was going to ask that.
And she hasn't even, because no other realtor but Seema in New York City can find her a freaking place for $2 million.
Is she
super annoying.
Is she still an attorney?
No, she now is trying to be a commentator on the BBC with her girlfriend who's a lesbian.
Which makes you about, what, 4 Skittles in your bank account? How does that make sense?
So then, getting back to the part that you're going to freak out about. Okay. No, actually, I'm going to tell the Aiden part, and then I'm going to tell the freak out part. So just to make sure I don't forget the freak out part. Aiden has a fucked up kid. Okay. So that's why they're like, we're going to get together in 5 years. The kid was supposed to go off to wilderness camp for a week.
Well, we know how those go.
Yeah. And then he comes And to be romantic, he throws a stone and it breaks her glass that has never been replaced since it was built in 1754 or whatever it is. So she's like, oh, well, I mean, and he goes, it's okay. I'm so sorry. I'll fix it. And she's like, I mean, you can't fix it. It makes little waves when the sun comes through it. It's a rainbow. And he's like, oh, now you're making me feel worse. Like, I don't make you feel worse. It's just, it lived through the revolution and the
what?
And this war and that war. And I'm like, okay, so so he tries to find the glass, whatever. And then all of a sudden he's like, I slept with Kathy, his ex-wife. She was really bummed that the fucked up kid didn't want to go on a plane to the wilderness camp.
No, this would
and
never
I guess
happen.
we just comfort each other and we
No.
slept with each other. And she goes,
These things don't happen.
and she goes, okay, I guess I can weirdly understand. And he's like, you're not mad? And she's like, no. Everyone is like, wait, what? Okay, so the only fun thing about watching a show is when you go
this
on
is
and
written
hear
by gay men, because gay men, they would be fine with that, but women wouldn't.
chat. A lot of people think it's AI chat GPT. I think
Could
it's
be.
real writers who are fucking lazy, because I'm going to tell you what happened.
Yeah.
Or are they going to get me wet by the end of the season when they are actually, if Samantha was here, she'd be like, oh, come on. Aiden's been playing the long revenge for the last 20 years. You cheated on him with Big.
Got it.
He's now cheating on he may have not even slept with Kathy, but he's trying to fuck with your brain. You sold your great apartment. Now you have a 4-bedroom house that he broke the window of. Get with it.
Yeah.
Like, that was what a good friend would say. They'd be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Totally.
I'm like, and also,
Yeah.
if it did happen, which I'm hoping it didn't, I hope he's just playing a long game of revenge.
Yeah.
Why can't, I would have wanted to see that scene, just like we saw the scene when Carrie decides to cheat with Big and he throws her up against the wall in the elevator and they're in, I mean, that was like a
Yeah.
moment where everybody watching that was like, this is so good.
Yeah.
This is so juicy. I would rather see Aiden and the character of Kathy be like, what are we going to do? And then have sex and then be like, oh my God, I just cheated on my boyfriend. You have Carrie. This can never happen again. What are we going to do? So if I wanted to turn out that they actually didn't cheat, he's been doing the long revenge and he is seeing if he can gaslight her into freaking the fuck out. I don't know.
I'm still stuck at, why would you want to have sex with your ex? Like, once people have children with someone and then you go through a divorce, like,
I always find that so
the hot factor totally disappears.
Me
It's gone, baby, gone.
They
It's
do
gone.
it. They did it in the John Hamm Friends and Neighbors show too.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
No.
yeah, I would think. I mean, I always think that too. I'm like always like, how could you even sleep in the same bed if you like hated your
Gross.
spouse that much?
No.
Very strange. So now I'm going to get to the part that's going to. Oh, by the way, Kathy, the girl who plays his ex-wife.
Yeah.
Thanks to the people that are obsessed with the show. This is where I'm like, how lazy are you writers? Casting director, I understand you made friends with these guest stars 20 years ago and you might have dinner with them and you might want to throw them a bone so they can keep their health insurance. However, Kathy was cast as Miranda's boss at a law firm in one of the scenes. And she and another partner reprimanded her for taking too much time off to be with her kid 25 years ago.
You just Rain Man them.
And
Wow.
I didn't come up with this. Someone else caught it. So thank you to the
Wow.
internet that caught it. And now she's an artist. No mention. That would have been juicy. It would have been juicy for the fans. The only people watching this are the people that are super fans of Sex and the City. So how funny would it have been or cool for Miranda going, and how weird that Aiden married my old boss.
Yeah.
That is weird. Small New York world, I guess. Like some reference.
They're missing a lot.
Because they did use the same bank loan woman.
Yeah.
And they sort of referenced it. So I'm like, okay, that's fun. But then they forgot that they cast Kathy before. Kathy probably never wanted to say, hey, by the way, you guys probably, because she wants the part.
She
So
just
she's
wants
probably
to, she's
she's probably
excited
like,
about
I don't know if
being
this
employed.
matters. Like, no.
Yeah.
Okay, now get ready for your mind to be blown.
No, by the way, at this point, why haven't the writing staff of the show come on this podcast?
They have their own podcast, but any of you are welcome. I am telling
they
you,
need to come on.
I will Zoom. I will do anything. I need to know what is the long game here. Is Aiden doing long revenge? Can Miranda maybe sleep with the writer who's Carrie's love interest downstairs. I pushed that last week that I wanted to have a threesome happen. There's so many juicy shit that could happen.
Yeah.
What are you setting up for? This past episode was super boring. Okay, so now get ready for your mind to be blown.
Okay.
This character, Lisa, who is a documentarian, she turns off her phone because she's flirting with her editor, who is the least prototype of a documentarian editor ever.
This is already a boner killer.
He looks
Documentary filmmakers, hot and heavy. This is not happening.
And it looks like a male model that used to play professional baseball.
This doesn't happen. Okay.
So anyway, she's flirting with him. She turns off her phone. The husband shows up to tell her, your phone was off. Your dad had a stroke and died.
This is like so.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, wow. All right.
First season, when Big died, she called Charlotte and said, when my dad died, my hands were shaking. Her dad died in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Her dad showed up alive in season 2 for a dinner.
God.
And now the dad is dying again. No reference of a stepdad. No reference of this is my biological dad. No reference of this is my father-in-law. Every time it was written, it was my dad. My dad died. My dad's coming to dinner. My dad died again. So then when we watched it, so then we watched it the second time. And she even called Charlotte to tell her that that was the first person she called to say, my dad just died. And Charlotte goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry. So then when we watched it the second time, because I have to watch it a second time because I'm usually buzzed and fall asleep. I watched it the second time with my sister and I go, so I kept adding lines like, again? I'm so sorry. How did this happen? I mean, I've had dreams where my dad comes back alive in the kitchen. I'm like, Dad, we already buried you. And he's like, no, this is literally one of my dreams. So then we have this long scene with this theatrical woman who runs his theater, the dad's theater, and this weird scene where that woman doesn't like Lisa, and Lisa's like, I should be planning my dad's funeral. And she's like, I've run your dad's theater group for 20 years. And she's like, nice purse. She's really dramatic.
Okay.
This black woman. And I guess she was on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or whatever. Again, who does she know? Does she need to get her health insurance? Why did we have this long scene? It was so fucking boring. And so she goes, oh, this is my Coach. Your bag is nice, which is some expensive bag. But what about my bag? And it's a Michael Kors. Okay. So there's all these jokes that it's a Michael Kors purse, which is way lower than her purse, which I thought was very
that's something trending
rude
on TikTok right now.
About Michael Kors?
Yeah, it's like putting down Michael Kors. Yeah.
I don't know how much Michael Kors paid to also be on this show, but it was weird. And then they're eating at like a chicken and waffle place.
Infuriated by that.
And then she goes, can I have some hot sauce? Lisa says, can I have some hot sauce? And the woman goes, I have it. I keep it in my Michael Kors, and brings out a bottle of hot sauce this big.
This is all kinds of wrong.
All kinds of wrong. Am I right?
Yeah.
Who is writing for the black characters? This is crazy. So then they go, and the funeral is very long, and it's kind of funny, whatever. There's a couple chuckles in it.
It's upsetting.
Weird, but we're like, this is a character that no one cares about except how pretty she is, okay? Nobody cares about her character, what she's doing. And the fact that she didn't say when she got the script, okay, you guys do remember first season, we filmed me saying that my dad had died. So is this my stepdad? No, I mean,
but why is the onus on her? The onus is on the executive producers, Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yes. Sarah said on Howard Stern or one of the shows, one of the podcasts, that she doesn't watch it.
This is all kinds of wrong.
Why do who is not an executive producer, why do I have to watch it twice? Because I'm so fucked up and weird.
We can't put the onus on an actor that is just trying to...
No, it's not. But I'm saying, even if the writers sucked, me as an actor would kind of remember what I've done on the show. And I've been like...
But it's a power imbalance.
Okay. I know. But I'm just... How is it that nobody, no editor, nobody... So I'm like, how...
It's lazy.
I think if this was written by AI, they would have caught it, honestly. So who are these writers writing it? And they say they have a podcast, and they apparently toot their own horn during it. So I need that. If they don't address this and go, oh my God, we realized it was the original dad that died was her father-in-law, and she just called him my dad. We're so sorry that there was a confusion.
Maybe they're like something while they're making the show.
Or they're just like, fuck it. And they're, instead of having 12, 14-hour days like you normally do when you're writing a top show in a writer's room, maybe they're having like a 3-hour day. And maybe they're doing the bare minimum.
Bare minimum.
I don't know, but I need
Wow.
to share how weird that was. So
Yeah.
here's the girl, Kathy. Yeah, same person. Sake
Wait,
Groovy
that's
M.
Kathy?
Yeah, that's when she was.
That's hot Kathy that he had to be with again.
Yeah, but she does look cute. But she's supposed to be a lawyer. She's supposed to be a bitchy lawyer here. Now she's an artist. Okay. Also, Mr. Big, who was the impetus for Candace Bushnell's, who she was in love with, he wasn't a finance guy like Chris Noth. He was like an editor-in-chief of like something Condé Nast, like some big time, some big role there.
Okay.
Anyway, he's alive and well, living in Vermont. And I think there's a New York magazine.
That's him.
That's him. And people were really disturbed by his outfit and his Crocs. And they're like,
oh God, I didn't see them. Hold on. I got to calibrate.
And they're not even new Crocs. I mean.
And black socks too.
And black socks. So like you're doing a photo shoot, agreeing to be on this thing, and you're married and your wife didn't say black sweatpants and old Crocs.
She's sick of them.
And
she just can't stand them.
That wife is like, please.
She's like, listen, if I have to hear one more time about how you were Mr. Big, I'm going to throw myself somewhere. Like, please.
You mean the current wife? Yeah. You're probably right. Okay, let's talk about this show also on HBO. A lot of people have been talking about this. Is Mariska Hargitay's documentary that she did about her mother, Jayne Mansfield, who was a huge blonde bombshell. Mm-hmm. Came up after Marilyn Monroe, but was around after Marilyn Monroe's death for a few years before she tragically died in a car accident. She was, at this point, her career had struggled. Mm-hmm. She had 5 kids at this point. We find out 4 different fathers, but they thought there were only 3 different fathers. To make herself stay relevant and whatever, she basically became Countess Luann. Yeah. She started to do like cabaret shows and they're like, are you a singer? And she's like, I can sing and I can tell stories. And so she was doing a nightclub act and she had a driver from the nightclub taking her and her 3 kids. I don't think she didn't bring the baby. She and her 3 kids, and she didn't have her older daughter there either.
Yeah, so it was the 2
kids and Mariska.
Mariska.
Leaving at like midnight to drive for 2 hours to go to the next gig where she had a show the next day. And this current boyfriend of hers, who was her divorce attorney from the last husband, and they get in a horrible car accident. And the 3 of them who were in the front seat, the 3 adults were in the front, they died. And the 3 kids in the back were all injured, which is amazing. I don't want to tell everything that happens in the show because there's some like kind of very interesting surprises. But so well done. Mm-hmm. And she's so grateful for the response that she's getting and in the interviews and what she's posting. And when I first saw like Rosie O'Donnell and people being like, it's so good and crying, I wasn't like running to watch it. But then more and more people were like, it's just amazing. And it was so interesting. The photo she chose, the time, the era. I didn't know much about Jayne Mansfield, just on the name and that she was sexy and pretty. Mm-hmm. And that famous photo with her at she's big, back then people had natural breasts. Yeah. So if you had big natural breasts and a tiny waist and a tiny ass, you were special because you couldn't go down the street and buy it. Mm-hmm. Just like Pamela Anderson's smile couldn't be bought. Yeah. So it was like there were only a few people that just really like captured the world with their look. And she was one. And so that all was like very fascinating. What did you think of it?
Well, I loved that you learned that she was really bright.
Very brilliant.
And very talented, that she could play 2 different instruments.
Spoke 4 languages.
Yeah, and a prodigious reader. And it saddened me that she is seen just for sort of this like dumb blonde persona, when in fact she was very multi-layered. And I really liked that Mariska talked about her conflicted feelings growing up because she looked different than her mother. And she is obviously very bright and just wrestling with her mother's identity within their family of origin, but also identity within the world. So as she's gotten older, I think this was the best time for her to make this because she's more at peace with herself. And that I think opened the door for her to really understand her mom's real story. It made me sad because it hasn't changed that much about how a woman's career in Hollywood is so fleeting.
So short, yeah.
And how she was the breadwinner. She had 5 kids, which was extremely unusual at that time. And the pressure, financial pressure she probably felt. And then also, she was only 34 when she died. So, by the way, she became famous at like 21. Self-made, didn't have any connections.
And had a baby at 16.
16.
That she never like sent to a farm so she could do a movie. Like she
Very
always
unusual
was
for the time.
The mom, she got rid of the husband if he didn't want to be part of it. She like had a baby and was living in like Knoxville or something and was like, no, I'd like to be a movie star like them and I'm going to do it. And the 3 of us are going to go to California. And then the husband was like, yeah, I'm out of here. And she's like, fine, bye. And had so much confidence in herself and then meets this casting director who was smart and said, we're going to utilize like you have a crazy body that you don't even realize how good it is. And we're going to make you blonde like Marilyn Monroe. Yeah. And she basically imitated Marilyn Monroe from the voice to everything. And I think that I always remember when Tina Fey won an Emmy for 30 Rock or something. And she was up against Julia Louis-Dreyfus for maybe Veep or something like that. And she was like, and I love you, Julia. And, they both were started on SNL. And she goes, I basically have been imitating you. Like she said it in her speech. Yeah. Like I just matched your comedic timing and I kind of took on that. And, everyone kind of laughed. But I mean, it's same with Lisa Kudrow when she talked about, I decided, I would like to do comedy. She saw John Lovitz, who was her brother's friend at the Groundlings, and she just finished Vassar and she was going to go on to be like a doctor. Yep. And then she was like, no, I can do this. And she would watch sitcoms and she learned the math and the cadence of timing and jokes. And then of course came up with her own brilliance and her own very unique funniness that has made her star all these years. But that was the right thing to do at the time. She was smart. She was not you. And then she said that she goes, I used what I had to like get in the door. Now I want to do other things, but it was too hard to transition at that point. Like she was really, but she was a good actress.
She really was like the Paris Hilton before.
Yes, Paris Hilton had a
different voice. She was so
voice.
savvy about the marketing. She would set up paparazzi shots. She was meticulous about all the clips. She was always talking to her publicist about these are the outlets I need to get into, setting up scenes that she knew would,
keep
for
her relevant,
lack of a better term, like be viral for the time.
Yeah.
So she was, I think if you look at Jayne Mansfield next to Paris Hilton, you have greater respect for Paris Hilton for how savvy she is about marketing her brand.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. And, so it's like just the same way Kim Kardashian copied Paris. Like, it's like, it's there. You don't have to reinvent the wheel and you should use your assets. And then once you get to a certain level, you then have the ability, unfortunately with her, through the difficult marriages and stuff, her looks did start to fade, even though she's only 34. By the end, she wasn't looking as snatched as you'd say, or as lovely, as beautiful. And, she wasn't getting picked for the movies. And even towards the end, they had like a version of like the European uncut version where basically she was now going to do nudity for these movies because she'd like such the banging body. And all of it was just, when you see a lot of documentaries, which I always joke about how like we never watched documentaries until like 10 years ago. And now that's all we watch. A lot of them, we didn't need a documentary on this. You know what I mean? Like I was just
we need maybe one, but not 4 of the same topic.
Or sometimes you watch one and you're like, this is a little premature. I don't know if this 25-year-old needs a documentary. I don't know if this particular story was that juicy to constitute one. I get it. These things get greenlit and production needs to happen, but this one was like, it really was done so well. And I know you interview so many producers and directors of this. And it's like, I wanted to talk to you about, because I was like, I really think the way it went for 2 hours, the way it kept your interest, the way she'd bring in different characters at that time. And there were a lot of questions I have at the end, but I understand it was 2 hours. Like
Well, she had a female team. I think that's really important because the overwhelming response that I see, and I know what I felt, I watched it when I was in Salt Lake and just cried. It resonates so deeply with women about identity and pursuing dreams and having children and our ability to manage stressful life circumstances. Like I just think it resonated so deeply. And I think having the team of women around her made such a difference.
Yes.
We need women to tell women's stories.
Yeah. And I also thought it was interesting when she was asking her older brother, like, did you know, like what an unusual life this was to have a heart-shaped pool, live in Beverly Hills. And he was like, no, how would we know?
Right.
Like a privileged kid like that, especially back then, who isn't on the phone, like if the Kardashian kids never had access to TVs or phones, they would probably be like, doesn't everybody have a bunch of guys sweating in cargo shorts around them? Like they wouldn't know any difference, just like the Truman Show. You wouldn't know any, like, it's like, so they were just, I thought that was super, I thought it was super
Didn't
interesting.
you just love the family?
Yeah, I thought it was so great
I want to
that
go to their house for Thanksgiving.
I thought it was so great that there were these, several half siblings from different, which I don't want to give it all away, but there were some just really like interesting, lovely moments. And I love that she, dealt with like, oh my God, because, I had like such like the bimbo type of a mom.
Yeah.
And she didn't know her because she died when she was 3. But obviously she was, obsessed with her kids, farthest thing from like a Joan Crawford.
Yeah.
Like it was just, and I think about like, what would have happened to Marilyn Monroe had she not died? She was a bigger star. She was just starting to get like real acting roles. But would that have continued? Or would it have been like Sunset Boulevard? Like, would it not have continued because it was that time?
Well, she was really brilliant. I would assume that she would.
But think about the era, though.
I know.
Like, would she have really become Reese Witherspoon? Or would she really become like a director of things? I don't know.
I think she would have been a writer. She was really brilliant. I think about Natalie Wood so much.
Yeah.
If like that documentary on HBO about Natalie Wood, every time I watch it, I have like a guttural response, like deep cry, because I think had she not died, she would have run studios. Robert Redford says, I owe my whole career to her. There were so many people that she was so important in their career, and people just don't even realize it. So I think a lot of these women probably would have been very powerful in terms of being a writer or even moving to like the business side of it, like for a studio.
I know, like I said, I know the story that the documentary was a 2-hour movie, and it was done perfectly to focus on her mom. But I mean, if I was lucky enough to have Mariska on this show, I would be like, I want to know more about your stepmom.
She seems wonderful.
And it's interesting because as a stepmom myself, I have a joke in my act where I'd be like, where are the stepmoms at? And literally I'll have, 1,000 people in the audience. And it's like, hey.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, I know there's more of you, but it's such a role that you're throughout history, whether it's a Disney movie or you're always seen as the woman that like the gold digging woman that like wanted to live in this house and take care of these kids that weren't hers. Yet if it's a stepdad, there's viral clips.
Celebrated.
There's viral clips
right.
of stepdads on podcasts that are like, dude, you're taking care of a kid that isn't yours. He's my son, man. And I was like, he's the greatest. He's the greatest.
Yeah,
but
right.
like, but for a there's bad stepdads and there's bad stepmoms, but like, there's not enough where people go, this is so selfless. This woman didn't have any biological children, from what I can tell.
No, she didn't.
After marrying him.
Yeah.
And I also don't know, what did the dad do? If he was a former, like, Mr. Universe, was he an actor? Like, they seem to have lived an okay, upper middle class life after Jayne died. But I was kind of like, and he's obviously a wonderful father, the one that, raised her, Hargitay. But like, I was just kind of like, And she was, just so
I think
lovely
you
the way
need
she
to
spoke
ask
about it.
Ellen Hargitay to come on here. And you have to see
Yes.
there's a clip of Chris DiStefano talking about how he is a step father.
Uh-huh.
And I just saw it a couple days ago, and he said that his own stepmom said to him, "It is the most thankless job. And it's like, it's going to be so frustrating, but you just have to accept it."
And I mean, to me, it's certainly not thankless on Mackenzie's part. She's extremely lovely and grateful and has never treated me with any disrespect our entire lives, like never yelled at me or said, "You're not my mom," or never, ever, ever. But I think it's just one of those things that you get into and you do it, and maybe you want more accolades from the rest of the family or whatever, and you're not going to get it, and it's fine, and you're happy with your decision, But to be in a place that you took over for like one of the biggest movie stars in the world, is a whole nother thing.
She had such grace too, the way that Mariska's interviewing her, and she just said, he still loved her.
Yeah, and you never stop loving. And then, when she was like, and then they met, and that was the beginning of a beautiful time of both of their lives. Like, it was and then,
wonderful.
and then, so we were watching it, Peter and I was like, wow, I mean, men get married so much quicker when that, like his own dad married his mom pretty shortly after the first marriage ended. And he had, these kids, and then had married Peter's mom and had these kids, and loved her very much and everything. And I go, well, in those days, you're like, what the hell am I going to do? Like, I have these other kids, like especially in a widow situation, they were already dating before she died, but like, I need help. I think men know they need help. I think women sometimes might search for that stepfather figure because they need the financial help or something, or whatever. Can be true love too, but it's like, it's more like, and then for anyone to think like, oh, you're stepping into the house or what, like, even if you marry someone who's super rich and stuff, it's no picnic,
right?
And it's like, I know so many people where they're the second or even third wife, and they're this wonderful stepmother for 10, 20 years, and then the man dies, and those kids that they were with since they were 11 to 25, they don't even hear from anymore.
Wow.
Like it's that can happen. And it's like, all right, well, I guess that's over with. Like, I mean, that's the other thing, and sometimes step parents stay in a bad marriage because they're like, I have no rights to see this kid. I can't see them every other weekend because it's not my kid. So I love this child so much that I'm raising, who's my stepchild. I would like to divorce you, but this is more valuable, so I'm going to make it work.
I had a terrible stepfather who pretended he was a Korean War vet, and we found out afterwards that he totally made it up. So I can't speak from experience, but I do know many people that had wonderful step parents, and I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. If you run a salon, a med spa, you got into this business to make people feel their best. But if you spend your days with headaches of trying to schedule things, that system is just stressful, and it's not great for your day-to-day, and it might be impossible for you to feel your best and have your clients feel their best. That's why you need Boulevard. Boulevard is the #1 client experience platform, but specifically for appointments-based self-care businesses. Because salons, spas, barbershops, med spas, and other self-care businesses are so personal, the platform powering your business also should feel the same. It's not just software, it's a smarter, more personal and organized way to manage all of your business's locations all in one place. See why the top beauty and wellness brands choose Boulevard to empower their team and grow their business. Right now, Boulevard is offering new customers 10% off your first subscription when you go to join blvd.com/juicyscoop and book a demo. That's Join Boulevard, JOINBLVD.com/juicyscoop. Book a demo and get 10% off your first year subscription. Join blvd.com/juicyscoop. Okay, so we're going to move on to some other crazy stuff. So in the Valley, Janet has been seen as the villain in this season because she picked on Danny, accusing him of having a drinking problem. And Danny is married now with 4 kids to Nia, and people thought it was a little overblown. And okay, here's the thing. There isn't honestly that much going on without Jax being horrible to Brittany. So
true.
We know as people that study, reality TV and you know, everything that you do, stuff has to happen. And whether they bring it up or a producer goes, hey, before you go to the dinner, remember, she said this and this, bring up this. I just saw this other thing where a former producer of reality shows was like, hey, I'm going to give you some things that I think are going on here. I think this scene of where Jesse picks up Jax from the rehab probably didn't happen.
Right.
It was probably a reenactment just to have a conversation, to be like, to just keep us going with the storyline. Oh my God, Jesse just picked him up from rehab. Not that he didn't go to rehab, but,
did
whatever. Yeah. Okay, she wasn't saying that, but it was just kind of, and so it's like with this, so she gets an onslaught of hate in all the different platforms, I'm assuming, under photos and in hate groups, whatever. And really was like, this is disgusting, to the point where like you're reading them. And again, I'm going to say, as someone who's been a victim of this, you don't know who is behind it. You don't know if it's a bot, a fake thing, or whatever. You don't know if this could be a friend. You don't know if it could be a producer that's trying to make shit happen. You don't know who's writing these awful things. And it is scary and it is weird, but we're never going to find out. One of the richest housewives ever from that one season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I don't even remember her name. Diana had people trying to find out who wrote the mean, horrible death threats texts to Garcelle's son, Jax. We never found out. We never found out where the server was. We never found out. Like, you're never going to find out. And it's like, that I would love to. I mean, there used to be a show years ago.
I remember.
Where like Kim Kardashian, Joe Francis, they met with their hater. And it was very juicy. One time I was up to do that on Catfish. They were going to do a celebrity version of Catfish, somewhat celebrity, where you meet your hater. I took all the psychological tests. I was so excited because there was this one particular person, and I was like, I think it's a woman my age. I think but she's saying that she goes to NYU. I don't think it's a young person that goes to NYU. I don't think a young person would care enough to hate me this much. I think it's someone that's in my generation. And she was like, the producer knew who it was. They're like, I think you'll be surprised. And I was like, oh my God. And then they just like dropped it. They just didn't do that season. They didn't do that season. And I'm like, I mean, there's been times where I'm like, how can I do this?
No,
how could I
can
offer
you get
someone
that
money?
person to come on the show and
Who
talk
knows?
about it?
I probably moved on. I'm probably 8 haters
Doesn't
back.
matter.
They probably moved on to 12 other people, because I do think they get bored too sometimes. That I don't know, but when you're getting it, you're seeing it, you're always kind of wondering. And anyway, they went to Switzerland. People were like, she escaped the country. I didn't talk to Janet about this, but I know her, and I've talked to her and Jason, and I was watching her videos in Switzerland with her child, and I said, I'm pretty sure this was a planned trip.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's come forward. She goes, this was a planned trip. We did not escape America because of the hate. However, I talked about this on my podcast, and that's why I guess people assumed that we, escaped from a comment.
Well, I think also because she all of a sudden had a private profile.
Right, where they're like, is she being dramatic? Is she trying to take away from Kristen, who just had a baby? No, I think she's handling her own thing. You can make your Instagram private. You can turn off comments. You can not post. You can take a break. You can put your phone away for 2 weeks. You will live. Your career will not be gone forever.
Yeah, in the short term, she needed to do that to just enjoy her vacation with her husband and her child.
Right.
Like, who wants to be on a trip and then you open up your phone?
It's like an addiction where it's like, I'm not going to drink this week. It's got to be like, I'm not going to look at that, because you might wake up at 2 a.m. with jet lag, and 3 hours later, you try to tell yourself it's not going to bother you, but the rest of the day. And then you look back at that trip, just like sometimes when I look back on a trip and I remember I read a great juicy book and I associate the book with that trip.
Yeah.
If you have something like this going on, you'll look back on that trip 3 years from now and you'll be like, but in the wee hours of the morning, I was consumed with how people hated my outfit and, you know, were writing the most evil shit. And it's like, you really have to, that's my biggest fight to everybody. You really have to be like, I can't look at it. And we've talked about this, I think, before that they're, I guess, in Australia with their social media people, they don't let them see this stuff. So let's get to the Love Island, which everybody's obsessed with this show. Full disclosure, I've only watched bits and pieces, but let me ask you some questions because you're kind of up on it. So
By the way,
is this a current thing like Big Brother? Like they're currently in the house as we speak?
They've already done 30 episodes. The finale is July 13th. So we're coming up on the end of it.
But like, what's the turnaround? It sounds like the turnaround is like within like 2 days, we're watching it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's very fast paced.
So it's not like they filmed this 6 months ago like a normal reality show.
No. So that's what makes it fun. My oldest child, I have 5, is a high school junior. She and her friends are obsessed with this. It's kind of fun to hear she calls it Chopped Island because she says that they all kind of suck this season. Last season was better. Just listening to their perspective is really funny.
So what is the concept? It's couples that aren't married but have been together a while, and then they go.
No. You're just a single person. You come to the island, you meet the other girls, and then you meet the guys.
So it's not the one where couples then could be tempted by.
No.
Okay. So this
You
is just
just show
all hot
up.
people.
Just hot people.
This is paradise. This is Bachelor in Paradise, but sluttier.
And they're all strangers to each other until they get there.
Okay.
And then you have your strategy is you kind of have to float around the house and couple up. But
if you don't couple up, you can't stay.
Right. So you have to couple up with somebody, but you can't be, you have to kind of just talk about surface things.
Do they show them like they do on like Below Deck where like they're clearly effing with like the nightlight on over the bed?
Because it's a large room with a bunch of beds in it. Like it's, Madeline, the story of the orphanage. It's like all beds in a room and then it's all neat. Decorated in like neon colors, and then like the lights go off at the same time.
And then you see like people boning all around.
Sometimes, but really, your strategy is you
to get a lot of followers,
be perceived as you're falling in love. But it's like we would be terrible on this show because you have to be very good at just talking about absolutely nothing.
Okay.
Because first of all, they're so bored.
Oh, speaking of which, I saw a clip of it and I got this part. He said, "I just love music."
No, that's it. Okay.
That's the conversation.
No, that's it. I'm
guessing this guy
you have to exist like that.
Connected on finding someone that likes sunsets.
It's all of that. It's like, you like oranges? I like oranges too. You do?
That's so weird.
That's amazing.
That is, I have not met anybody that's like as into orange juice as I am. No, I haven't.
That is the hardest part of the show. Now, it's really
that's why I've been watching some clips. I was like, I want to give this to my people, but I don't think I can commit. There's like 25 people. There's already 30 episodes. Like, I would have to be like,
maybe
held up with like broken legs or something.
Like you have to dip in and out. But what it used to be like, Love Island UK is a lot more sexual.
Okay.
This is like,
and are people gay or bi or anything?
No, they're straight.
They're all
like
straight.
There'll be like challenges, and then they'll say like, some kiss someone, and it's like they'll go like full like swallowing someone's face off. But you have to be
but it's
like
always hetero. Girls aren't messing around at all.
Not that I've seen.
Okay.
So it's become like Survivor though.
Okay.
So it's really kind of, this season especially is less about love. You can see that people are using it now just as an opportunity to grow their following. And some of the cast members are adjacent to big influencers. So it's sort of like on Housewives when someone joins the show and they had a friend who was on Housewives and they kind of learned the playbook. It's becoming a little bit too like that. And then 2 people have been kind of pushed off the show because old social media posts have come back to haunt them. And the last girl that they got rid of, she had no idea what it was all about, like why she was like pushed off the show. And her parents put out a statement basically saying...
Okay, so this is Sierra. This is Sierra's story?
Yep.
So this is Sierra's story. And it just took a minute for me to find out what was this social media post. So she's on the show, gaining followers, and you have like a friend following you, helping you still keep up with your social media.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody finds a post from a few years back where she said, Botox isn't for everyone, but I love it for me. I'm incredibly expressive with my face, and I catch myself frowning for no reason throughout the day when I'm focusing on something or thinking too hard. I also can be a little chinky when I laugh or smile. Now, this girl is not Chinese, and I don't know what her ethnicity is, but it's not Asian. And so she was saying that, she has eyes that in a obviously a derogatory way. So that came out, and then they found another one that she took a cute photo of herself back in 2015 because people were saying, this isn't a one-time thing. Right. This is a word that she uses in her vernacular where she said something like, I like this photo, but I'm looking a little chinky here because she's smiling.
Mm-hmm. But this was on the heels of another cast member named Melissa who had something derogatory.
What did she say?
Something highly racist. So now you have two cast members. So what I'm telling you is...
And have they kicked out both?
Yes.
So the first girl was first?
Yeah.
So your Melissa girl.
Because of that, everyone's going through all of their old social media.
Oh, my God.
So this is like, it's become Survivor.
What I also saw is that nobody's like sticking up for her, including her people at home. Everyone's just like, want no association with this stink.
Yeah.
She was close to having 1 million followers. She lost, as of yesterday, they said she was down 150, which is a lot, but it's not insane. I mean, if you still have 850, you're doing pretty well in life. So, and so then she doesn't know why she's getting kicked out, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, you're getting kicked out. And then she has to find out that this was a post that she did.
And her parents had to write a statement.
Was this one? I don't know how old this one was.
I think it was,
then the parents wrote a statement. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What was the statement again?
Just like, please give our daughter some grace. This is a learning experience.
Maybe she'll go to Switzerland, meet Janet.
But I thought, I'm just looking at this as interesting because we've gone through a couple of years where reality shows are your opportunity to grow your following, to become the influencer, which is like the dream job of young people right now.
Unless you're Lisa Vanderpump, who has a restaurant, like already established business, if you're under 30 and you go on any of these shows, besides just acting a little slutty and wearing a bikini, it's to become an influencer and like be able to sell bikinis once you get home. Yeah.
So now I don't know if a lot of people, there may be a population of people that rethink that because now the people are going to comb through all of your things.
The thing is, though, comedy and comments and everything, people do grow and life is different than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And I mean, watch a movie from a decade ago while you're getting your hair blown out and you're going to find 10 things that wouldn't fly today. Mm-hmm. And you could find things that are wrong and inappropriate and hurtful and racist and stereotypical. And she was dumb and she did say it. And, listen, she's not running for president. If you don't want to follow her, don't follow her. Who cares? But I'm just saying it's going to, if this thing was, 2024 or 3, what the hell are you doing? What backwards world are you living in? But it doesn't matter. You're completely disposable. Goodbye. We're going to get rid of you. No one cares. Where's Hawk Tua girl?
I know.
I need to know where Hawk Tua girl is. Like, where's Hawk Tua girl? Like, what happened to her?
Yeah.
I know she made all that money in the Bitcoin. Is she just just living? Like, did she just go away and she's got like $30 million of Bitcoin?
I didn't follow her to begin with, so I have no idea.
Well, she got a podcast.
Oh, okay.
And she had her own Bitcoin. And then there was like some way people were accusing her of doing some weird scam with it, some crypto scam. And now she's just disappeared, but I think she might have disappeared with like 20 or 30 million in the bank. I need to know
where she probably is.
What happened to her?
That show, The World's Toughest Challenge, where you go to Australia or New Zealand and film, and then we'll see her on TV in 4 months.
Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe she's. Yeah. I was hoping she was.
That's
gone.
who they cast.
Okay. Well, all right. Okay, I want to talk about this as a really cool thing that you do on your Substack, that katecasey.substack.com, because you are so smart. And this is kind of where we bonded many years ago, was analyzing Housewives before everyone analyzed Housewives.
Yeah.
And you kind of realized there's 8 archetypes.
Mhm.
I can't wait for us to teach our college course together.
I know. We're the Brian Moylan and I did one time. We did a joint presentation to Columbia about reality TV.
And were people in the class?
Yes. Yeah,
When
we did
did you
it
do
together.
that?
It was like a year and a half ago, maybe. Dr. Raquel Gates is the professor.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I've been pushing it for USC, so people USC, come find me. I'll do a little fun class. Okay, so tell me what they are.
Okay, so as you can see, you've got Queen Bee, who's always the head of the show. They're the one who get the reunion seat. Everyone kind of follows her.
Who is that on Beverly Hills? Kyle?
Well, now it's Kyle, and the archetypes can change.
Right. I mean, originally
time.
I think it was definitely Lisa Vanderpump. Yeah.
Or Teresa, and it's like they're the center
Right.
of the reunion, and everyone kind of follows in line with what they say, and the audience might say, well, the show's sort of centered around that person. They sort of set the tone, and everyone's terrified of them.
And also, if you get hooked by someone else to try to take over the queen and change the democracy of your country,
Yep.
9 times out of 10, it doesn't work. And then you get fucked.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's why some people are the sidekick.
Okay.
Sidekick is Jennifer Aiden.
Okay.
Like they just go
From
with
New Jersey. Yeah.
whatever the Queen Bee says.
Okay.
Like they fall into line. They provide.
And I mean, do
the
any of us
backup they
care
need.
if Jennifer Aiden ever comes back?
No.
But when
No.
she's on, it flows with the show, but it's not like she has a following like a Teresa. Okay, continue.
Yeah. I mean, laughs at all their jokes,
Yeah.
agrees with all of their opinions. So that's, if you remember the movie Mean Girls, it's kind
Yes.
of based on Rosalind, her book. It's the Lacey Chabert character. They like just kind of follow them everywhere.
Got it.
Okay. Then you have the wannabe. The wannabe is the person who just desperately wants to be included. And sometimes they tend to do things like overdress to kind of like make themselves kind of fit in. And that was a Sutton Strack in the beginning, or like an Alex McCord.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt for a second. I just saw a clip on of Dr. Nicole from Miami, who is no longer there.
Right.
Who was the cutest and had the best life, and actually
I
is
know
an
exactly what you're talking about, yep.
anesthesiologist or a doctor too.
Mhm.
She was talking to other housewife anesthesiologist,
Tiffany Moon.
Moon, on a podcast or whatever, on Zoom. And she said something to the effect, Nicole, that she found out that like
Marisol.
a sidekick and somebody else, it must have been Marisol,
No, it was
not a full
Marisol. Oh, yeah.
character, were hiring investigators to try to get a got you moment that they could then deliver on a platter to the producers to then elevate their status. And I guess when she found out about it, she was out. And speaking of Miami, I think it has to do with that the new girl at one time dated her now
Stephanie was an
husband.
ex of Anthony's.
Yeah. Crazy. Okay, continue.
Crazy. Yes. So that's a wannabe. And then you have the target. The target is the one that kind of everyone throws the kitchen sink at. Like, they're the person that they want to take down. And I would say that's someone like Denise Richards. Like
Okay.
they're all angry at her. She's not showing up and filming the same amount that we are. This is a dumb storyline.
Jealous? Could be jealous
Jealousy.
too, that
Could
they
be like a
actually
number
are
of
pretty
things.
and have a
Yeah.
career. Okay.
So they're the target. There is the banker. The banker keeps all the secrets and they're strategic about it.
The bone collector.
They're the bone collector, and then they drop it, and that's a Margaret Josephs. Like they wait for the right time and then they drop it. But that's not to be confused with the messenger.
Okay.
The messenger is the one who drops information, but they can be sloppy about it. Like I think sometimes Candy Burris could do that.
Yeah.
Like just drop. It's like a shit stir. Like the
Okay.
messenger is sort of like a shit stir.
Okay.
Okay. The floater.
Uh-huh.
Floaters, like when you were in school and you just kind of go float from group to group. They don't really have alliances.
Okay.
And they just kind of sort of like float on. And that can also be Candy Burris.
Okay.
Like they don't really have one group in particular. And then there's the torn bystander. They're the ones who are always like conflicted about something. They won't take a side. And that's a Cynthia Bailey.
Got it. That's brilliant. I love it. Speaking of which, BravoCon, I will be having a show on Friday, November 14th at the MGM at 10 p.m. Get your tickets at McDonald.net. I want to talk about the latest lawsuit finding that's happening with Leah McSweeney from Real Housewives of New York. To remind you, she's suing Bravo, saying that they encouraged and pushed her to drink, affecting her mental health and her wellness, and therefore she is suing. The other side of it is saying that she got the job at Real Housewives of New York after being sober for a long time, but had just started drinking before she started filming. So therefore, how could they be responsible for her drinking?
Say that she was drinking before?
She has said that.
Oh, she did.
Has said, I was sober for a long time, and then I started to drink, and then I got the job. Okay, so now but then she says when she then went to do the Ultimate Girls Trip in Thailand, she wasn't feeling well there and felt she was being punished for it, wasn't asked to be on another show, and that she has evidence that they were forcing her or wanting her to drink, because at one moment, I remember Heather Gay said, like, "Are you really sober? I bet we could get you to drink." Something like that.
I think I remember.
But again, it's a reality show. And part of the reality show agreements are, if you have a problem with any other cast member or the product, we will go to mediation first. We will try to settle at mediation. Now, she doesn't want mediation. She wants to do a full trial. And the reason that her attorneys are bringing up that the mediation should not be withheld, or be held up, it should be able to go to
trial,
is because that all goes away. All mediation goes away if there's any element of sexual harassment.
Okay.
So we could have an agreement where if we were to get into a business thing and something goes wrong, we're going to mediate. But if I sexually harassed you, then that all goes away. So she says she was sexually harassed because Andy Cohen asked her about her boob job and has text messages to prove it. And therefore, she was sexually harassed. And therefore, then this is, this should go to not have to be arbitration or mediation.
This is like a disaster.
And I think it all comes from...
The real problem here seems to be these Ultimate Girls Trips. Like, there's so much litigation involving these Ultimate Girls Trips. Like, maybe they need to can it.
Yeah, we still have the Caroline Manzo. There's word that they're all done and ready to go. Of course they're done and ready to go. It was shot 3 years ago. Of course it's done and ready to go. Mm-hmm. But, because she's suing, saying that Brandi Glanville groped her and this and that too is sexual harassment, which is why now I see why they're able to, get attorneys to back them on this, because both of them have a sexual harassment element to them. It's not just, you said my husband was a loser, I'm going to sue you for defamation. He's not a loser.
Yeah.
It's not that. And so it's kind of interesting. I don't know. I think as someone who's, like I said before, it's just not a kind of lawsuit that there's a lot of sympathy for, because women watching it would all like to go on free trips. They don't think that their life is hard being on the show. We know emotionally it is. And also, you give someone fame. They're having photo shoots. They're on the cover of magazines. They're going on first class to go on Watch What Happens Live. And then it all ends.
Yeah.
It all ends. And if they don't have any kind of other business or husband to fall back on, they do get very desperate and they feel like they've been thrown away, which is what Brandi Glanville feels like. And this is Bravo Snark side. She did a cameo, Brandi, and she's not going to turn down a cameo. We all know she's financially in bad position. She said since Caroline has not sued her, but made her part of a lawsuit, she's not suing Brandi, but that she has not been able to be on any of those shows, whatever, villains, anything in the Bravo world, anything on anything. And she's been, since her time on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, she has been on Ultimate Girls Trip, but she's also been on these one-off shows and stuff like that. She's not getting any of that now. And she has this weird parasite thing.
Yeah.
that there's been people alluding, or herself, I'm not sure where it stems from, so don't hold me to it, that could she have gotten some type of parasite in her face when she was in Morocco, which I don't think that would be Bravo's fault, because, sometimes when you go to a doctor after a trip.
Why would they think it was in Morocco?
I don't know. That's when it started. I'm just saying that's when it started to happen, and that's where they filmed.
Oh.
And so was there something there? But again, that wouldn't be Bravo's fault. Like if you went to Morocco and you stayed at a 5-star hotel and you came back with something and you didn't know what you had, I don't think
I don't think she would get Botox in Morocco. You would get it before you went on the trip.
I don't think that she thinks it's Botox. She said there's some parasite or something that's crawling in her face. She's trying to repair her looks. She's doing this cameo, which clearly she had some new facial that makes you look like a burn victim, and she's just doing it anyway. And then whoever got the cameo didn't keep it to themselves and blasted it, and then everyone else posted what's wrong with their face. But I don't know. Maybe this will gain her some sympathy. Maybe this will help somebody go, because supposedly Dr. Terry Dubrow was supposed to help her with it. But if there's any kind of claim that maybe this happened on a set of Bravo, maybe he's like, find another doctor. I don't know.
It's terrifying.
It's
really. How do you not have anybody?
What is your prediction with all these lawsuits?
Such empathy
with
for
Leah and Caroline Manzo. What is your prediction?
The show in Morocco will never see the light of day.
Agree with that.
Never.
Which I'm so sad about, but yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this lawsuit Leah has gone quite far, so it's hard to say. This is what I say about all lawsuits. The Blake Lively stuff, you name it. Unless we have the benefit of looking at all the discovery, none of us really know.
Yeah.
We just don't.
Well, that's why we'll see if it ever really goes to an actual
trial,
like an Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. Mm-hmm. Then we got to see every single thing, the poop on the bed, the da-da-da-da. Yeah. And you could, really, and watch it, So we'll see.
Well, there's also that lawsuit now in Atlanta. Brit suing for $20
to remind
million.
people of that, in Atlanta, Brit is suing for $20 million.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it $200 million?
$20 million.
$20 million to Bravo, saying that they allowed a conversation to be filmed and talked about and everything, where Kenya brought photos of this new girl, Brit, that she had someone find on the internet that showed her giving BJs and whatnot on camera, blew them up, put them on a poster from Michael's, and showed them because she was mad at that girl. They didn't actually show the photo, but she said, this is her. Brit heard about it. We see it filmed. They tell Kenya, you're going to take a pause. We can't film with you anymore. But it's a conversation throughout the season. Mm-hmm. Some people feel sorry for Brit in the beginning. Some people are like, she's the problem. She found, apparently, according to the law school, whatever, it wasn't her.
I don't understand why they even aired that to begin with.
Aired the conversation because
why did they include that?
I know, because even if you were filming and stuff, then when you're that's the whole thing. When any of this stuff happens, I'm like, not only were there people in the edit room, but then there's a final edit. Then there's notes. Then there's, there's all this stuff and so all these people up to whoever is the top of the line. And I don't know if Andy has that say anymore in all these shows anymore, if it's not his responsibility, but whoever, they said, include it. It's juicy.
It's wild
and didn't
to me.
think like, are we 100% is this girl? Or even if it is, it shouldn't be. But I just thought, imagine.
Did you see the episode?
I saw it all. I saw it all.
Were you just like,
I was horrified.
I had my hands on my head. I was like, why would they show this? This is awful.
I just think it's crazy then to destroy her character and have her, and because she did do music videos, and because she did have boyfriends that threatened revenge porn before she got married and became an insurance agent, and because she dabbled in webcamming, she really thought someone had photos of her from her past in compromising positions. She assumed it was true. And then to find out it wasn't even her.
This
it's like you
awful.
Destroyed my character and it wasn't even me. In her case, I think there should be something. I do. I think there should be something for her, because I'm like, you destroyed her character. It's like me with the fucking earrings. I believed that the earrings were worth $10,000 when, Jeff Lewis was saying that they were. I paid paid her, paid my friend, only to find out like a month and a half later when I finally went to a jewelry store that they were fake and in fact worth $44. To this day, people still think they were worth something, or they're like, but you still borrowed something and didn't return it. To this day, I have to so it's like, I just was like, oh my God, the irony of all of this is like, yeah.
I think you have to have more women that are working behind the scenes of Real Housewives, because these are women's stories. No one knows them better than we do. And at the end of the day, I would think that they would look at every episode and then look at it as a collective project, piece where you're asking, was this real character development? Were we telling someone's complicated story? Were we telling the story of their complicated friendships and relationships? I don't know what they were trying to do in this example. Like, it's disgusting and tears a woman down in so many ways. How is that uplifting in any way? Sure, Housewives can be funny and campy and all those things, but that was like beyond.
But you know what? If they have Phaedra come back after what she pulled, to remind people what she pulled, she told Portia a blatant lie that Candy and her husband had a plan to get her drunk and essay her. And it all came out, and then they got rid of Phaedra. But then after a couple of years, they're like, you're pretty funny, come back. So I'm like, so will Kenya come back? Maybe. I don't know. Like, I just feel like they just wait enough time, and I don't know. Do you think Kenya will ever come back?
I don't know. She may get to a point where she's like, I don't think I need this as much as I thought I did.
You do.
And
because you're like 52 with a 4-year-old and you don't have a husband and you need the money. And by being on TV, all the other money comes. Like the appearances, the products. She built that whole company, Kenya Moore Hair Care, like whatever I've seen on the internet, it's not even open anymore. So that's not making money. So yeah, she's got to try to redeem herself. But now that there's a legal issue, admitting you're wrong or apologizing, they're probably telling her not to. You know what I mean?
I don't know. This is all so dark.
And why would you ever believe her if she went and knocked on Britt's door with flowers and begged on her knees to drop the lawsuit against Bravo and let's just go back and have a great season where we make up? That would be the smart thing to do. But would Britt do it? Would Britt go, yeah, I want to be on the show that badly that I'm not going to gamble and try to see if I don't get what I deserve?
It was so upset me in the beginning of the season. It made it hard to. It made me hard. It made it hard to watch because I just felt like it felt so dark.
Yeah,
and I just didn't think they could turn it around.
Right. Oh, interesting. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
She looks
according
so pretty
to Reality Blurb, this girl Alexia's husband Todd, who she loves, Todd. He said, I'm not going to buy an apartment. It's better to rent, even though he's in real estate. Filed for divorce. She begged for him back. We're watching that. We don't know what's going on. He just bought a place in his own name for $4.2 million.
Oh, wow. Good for him.
So whatever that weird relationship is, I don't think there's a girl on this earth that thinks that she should ever date him or sleep with him again.
But you know why people like that story
juicy,
or follow it? Because I think there is a point where all of us have had a friend who's obsessed with getting back with their ex. And the question is, do you really love this person or are you afraid of being alone?
Totally. This is another show you said it should be a real good one. Netflix.
Oh, this is
July 16th.
Everyone's going to be obsessed.
Amy Bradley is missing. Tell us about this really quickly before we end.
Okay, it's 3 episodes. Amy Bradley goes on a cruise ship with her parents and her brother. And what was the year? It was 1998.
Oh, long
okay,
time.
So, on cruise ships, there's the disco and people go up there late at night and you're drinking. They have video of her dancing. She looks inebriated. She goes back to her cabin with her brother and her parents. He hangs out with her for a little bit. She's like, I'm going to stay up. So she's on the patio. It's about 5:00 in the morning. Her father wakes up. He sees her laying on the patio chair, wakes up at 5:50. She's gone. She disappeared from the boat. There have been sightings of her afterward. There was one man that saw her in a brothel or claimed to have seen her. And then there was also pictures of her in some sort of site where it looks exactly like her, kind of dolled up, like somewhere someone would go to purchase
A prostitute.
a prostitute. So, and they also created a website where they posted all these memories of her car, her dog, and there has been an IP address that would ping that website on anniversaries of stuff, birthdays, that kind of thing. So there's reason to believe that she may still be alive. And the question is, what happened to her? Was she put into sex trafficking? Like, what happened?
The other question is, does she have a Netflix subscription?
I know.
And if you saw this and it was you, how could you not reach out? That's what I'm
going to
just
tell
can't
you why.
believe.
Because I think that if there was an issue with drugs, and then once you're trafficked, they
Right.
give you drugs, you may be embarrassed. Like, I'm not the version that I was. I'm terrified. There were sightings of her. There's one woman in particular says, I saw her in a bathroom. There were men that were standing outside the bathroom. They're basically like, you're going to like, hurry up, right? She didn't seem to be able to be on her own at all.
Mm.
So terrifying.
So very juicy.
You'll watch that one.
Okay, we'll
3
watch that one.
episodes.
And then, Kate, where can they follow you and listen to your podcast?
Okay, so Reality Life with Kate Casey, everywhere where you listen to podcasts. Every Monday, I put out a list of what to watch. And this is important because I'm going to save you a ton of time. It tells you what to watch in unscripted TV. So reality shows and documentaries, and that's at katecasey.substack.com. And I always have really good recommendations.
Awesome. Thank you. Love you, girl. Bye.